Well, hello, mamas and teachers. Welcome to another video in the series called What a Tutor Wished Teachers of Teens Knew. So, mamas, stick around, teachers, stick with me as we talk about communication. Okay, so I want to know what you think about, like, as soon as I say that word communication, what's that first word that pops into your head? Okay, for me, it's something about talking. All right. And I got to tell you, when teens talk to their teachers, sometimes it goes really well, sometimes not so much. So definitely want to share some thoughts on that from a tutor's perspective. I also want to welcome you to my Facebook group. So if you're not a member of Teaching Teens to Love Learning already, do know mamas and teachers of teens, it's a perfect place for you. So definitely click the link in the description. Join us after the video so you can stay up to date with Ace Cookie Tutoring and Study with Jessie. All right, communication. I know my last couple of videos have been a little long, so I'll definitely try to make this one shorter. And so it's kind of a follow-up to yesterday about the idea of feedback. So if you missed that video, be sure to catch that after this one. All right, communication. I want to say a couple of important things here. Number one, mamas, I teach teens how to self-advocate. Okay, that is part of my Love to Learn and Study program. It's one of the most important study skills I teach. And that means that your teen, so your middle school, your high school, your college kiddo, needs to be the one communicating with teachers. Okay, if your teen's going to be gone for a day, he needs to tell the teachers that. He needs to find out what his missing assignments are, hopefully get ahead of things, especially if it's for like a sports game or for a vacation or whatever might be going on. Okay. Now, if your teen has a question, again, I teach your teens how to ask for help. Teach your teens how to reach out and say, hey, I'm kind of confused, or, what am I supposed to be preparing for? I teach your teens how to self-advocate. So mamas, I encourage you, have your teen do the effort first. Okay, have your teen send those emails. Have your teen stay after class to talk to the teacher. Have your child make that initial effort. Okay, so that is something that I'm trying to teach teens and mamas. I know that they're your babies. I know that you are there for them for everything they need, but you got to learn to let go a little bit, at least when it comes to communicating with teachers, because eventually your child is going to be communicating with his boss someday, with his coworker someday, and he needs the practice. Okay? Now, teachers, this is when you come in. Okay? I cannot tell you as a tutor how many times I have sat with a student during a lesson and we've actually sent those emails. We've sent those messages through Google Classroom, through Schoology, through whatever program the school uses. And unfortunately, when I check out a day or two later to see, okay, are we ready for our next lesson, or, what steps and of progress have you made on your own since we've talked about how to do it once we know, what we need from you. And teachers, so many times, students tell me they have not heard back from you. So that's one of the big things I want to say for all teachers watching this as we talk about communication is this. If a student reaches out, whether that's staying after class, whether that's sending an email, whether that's sending a message through whatever platform, I need you teachers to look at that message and I need you to respond to it. Okay. Now, something I want to say, mamas, something that I tell teens and teachers, I totally get this. Teachers are not going to respond all the time. Okay. If something is due tomorrow morning, like 8 o'clock, and your teen sends an email at midnight, it's probably not going to get answered before the due date. Okay. And teachers, totally fine. Mamas, please be aware. Okay. But at the same time, teachers, if a student has sent an email 2 or 3 times, has tried to contact you 2 or 3 times, and you haven't responded, then yeah, I as a tutor are going to be frustrated, and yeah, mamas are definitely going to be frustrated, let alone your student who's trying to reach you. So definitely do know, mamas, it's when, communication has been attempted on your teen's part and your teen's not getting anywhere, that's when I encourage you to step in. Because unfortunately, same thing as a tutor, I've had a student that I can have him email. He never hears anything. But as soon as mom emails, the teacher responds immediately. So I got to tell you, for all of my teachers watching, I honestly feel like that's a little ridiculous. Okay, so definitely, mamas, don't step in until you need to, and teachers, the mamas, the papas, all the parents, all the guardians should not need to become involved until absolutely necessary. Okay, so a couple more thoughts to share here about communication. Before I do, I want to say thank you to everybody who's watching on YouTube and on Facebook. I am Jessica Coulter, the CEO and founder of Ace Cookie Tutoring and Study with Jessie. And I got to tell you, I have an amazing YouTube channel and an amazing Facebook page. And if you're not a subscriber, not a follower of Ace Cookie Tutoring, you're missing out. So be sure to follow, be sure to subscribe for more videos about learning, about studying, all about school and teens. All right, final thoughts here, hopefully keeping this one a little shorter than the last couple videos, is this. Parents, mamas, you've got to know how the teacher wants your teen to communicate. Okay, so teachers, that means you have to tell the students how to communicate with you. Okay, communication is so important. This is one of those other aspects that sometimes need some serious improvement. Okay, so I do my absolute best to help the teens I work with, I tutor through my Love to Learn program, to let them know teachers are people. Okay, that means you have a life outside of school. But at the same time, teachers, if you don't tell students, hey, I cannot do Tuesdays after school, or hey, I have this meeting every Friday, so you can't come during seminar, study hall. If your students don't know that, that's when teens get frustrated. That's when the mamas get frustrated. Okay. But definitely, mamas, if the teachers have said this to your student, there's been an email that actually did get sent out, if there was a newsletter sent home, if there was a syllabus with all these different dates and times, it's your responsibility, and even more so, your teen's responsibility to know these things. Okay. Now, I will tell you, teachers, sometimes you say you're available and then you're not. Okay. It's very frustrating if a student comes to your class, purposely rearranges his schedule, makes time in her life to get that help she wants, and then you're not in the class, or you're down the hall talking to somebody that's obviously not something school related or work related. Okay. And I've also had a personal experience of mine was a college professor would be during office hours in his lab, because I was a chemistry teacher, and he'd have the door closed and locked, lights off, and I literally could be knocking on the door. He'd look at me, and then he'd literally walk into the storage closet and would not come back out. Okay, like I waited 20 minutes one day. Okay, so definitely do know that teachers, the teens, the parents, they need to know when you're actually going to be there, and how to communicate, because like I said, there's all those platforms. So if you don't want the students emailing, the students need to know how they're supposed to get a hold of you. Okay, and definitely, mamas, if the information's been given, then at that point, it's up to your teen to communicate in the way the teacher expects. When that doesn't happen, if the teen does what the teacher says, hey, find me such and such time, reach out such and such way, and then the teacher doesn't respond, mamas, that's when I encourage you to get involved. Okay, so those are my thoughts, my strategies, my tips for communication between teens and their teachers. And I hope that helps you, teachers. I hope that helps you, mamas, to hear from a tutor's perspective. Because I got to tell you, we didn't even talk about, does the tutor, aka me, reach out to the teachers directly? And that's generally a personal choice. Teachers, I love it when we can do that, when you send things to the parents that the parents can just forward straight to me. Or even better, mamas, when the teachers are like, hey, just have the tutor email me, for what's happening, what homework is missing, what test is upcoming. That makes my life so much easier, because that way, mamas, you don't have to play middleman, and I have exactly what I need to work on with your student. All right. So tomorrow's topic is extra credit. So be sure, like I said, hit that follow button, hit the subscribe button, and even better, join my Facebook group at the link in the description, so you can keep up to date with Ace Cookie Tutoring, because tomorrow is an amazing, busy day, both in my Facebook group, both at the webinar, and even at the Parent-Tween Connection Roundtable. So thank you. See you all soon, and I hope to see you in the group when you click and answer a couple questions. Bye, mamas and teachers.